So let's talk about Apple Arcade. You've seen the announcement, you heard about it, it's official. Apple is officially making their own gaming subscription service called Apple Arcade. Now, how much is this going to cost you? It's going to cost you $4.99, and this service is already out to the masses. So if you want to try this service out for yourself, you can. I do believe Apple does give you a full month to actually try this service out to see if it's something you're going to like or not like. The only thing about this service is, of course, you do have to be on some type of iOS device running iOS 13. I do believe iPhones do get this service right off the bat, and then if you're on a tablet like an iPad, you do get this service. However, it's coming out later, so just wait, and this should be out on iPads relatively soon. But the iPhone counterpart for this service is already out, and you can get this service for yourself as we speak right now. And this only going to cost you $4.99 a month. So you can see this service is relatively cheap. It's half the price of Xbox Games Pass, and I think that's a very good mark. It's not too cheap, but it's not too expensive as well. I think there's a great balance here in terms of the pricing. $4.99 is not asking all too much a month, especially if you are a mobile gamer and you play a lot of games anyway. $4.99 is not that much at all, and this service is going to have a lot of games. At first, when I was looking at this list, I wanted to say that these are all exclusive to Apple Arcade, but unfortunately, not all these games are exclusive to Apple Arcade. I know this for a factor when I actually look at the list. One game off the top of my head I do know, which is multi-platform, is I don't know if they actually have it on this list. Oh yeah, Sayonara Wild Hearts is actually a game that's not exclusive to Apple Arcade. It's actually on Nintendo Switch and PS4 as well. So you can see not all of these are going to be exclusive to Apple Arcade. But just looking at the list of games that are coming to this service, it looks like this service does have a lot to offer. Of course, I don't have an iOS device to actually try this service out, so I can't tell you how well this service worked or the games on this service, but there are trailers out there and people have played them and probably showed footage of these games, so you can get a kind of an idea if this service is going to be for you or not. But going back to the games, I must say there's a lot of games, and there's even games for hardcore gamers. I mean, at least franchises or developers you're well aware of. If you play normal games on like a PC or like a console, then you'll be very familiar with it. Like, I do know some of the developers that are on board are, I think, Capcom, Konami. I think a publisher called Devolver Digital is also on board. So some of the standout games I've seen on here, going back to Sayonara Wild Hearts. Sayonara Wild Hearts is actually a good game, and I actually seen a full playthrough of that game, and what I can say is that game is a flat-out fantastic game. And that game, for me personally, is not a game I recommend buying because it's really short and there's not a lot of gameplay elements. But if you tack on the fact that $4.99 you get Sayonara Wild Hearts plus a whole host of other games, then I really do think this is a great value. Just to play something like Sayonara Wild Hearts, which normally goes for about $13 on other platforms, you pay $4.99, you beat that game, you didn't spend $13, and you have a whole list of other games you can play at your disposal, then what a great deal that is. And then another game that's caught my eye is Exit the Gungeon, which Enter the Gungeon is a very popular roguelike-esque game. It's on all the consoles, including PC, and I have experience with that game, of course, and that game is a flat-out fantastic game, so it's great to see that they did do an exclusive game here, Exit the Gungeon. Is it the same quality as Enter the Gungeon? Most likely no, because it is on mobile, and you do have to work around with these mobile controls, but hey, that game is there as well. And I can't really say any other standout games. I guess I've seen a Sonic game on here. One of the Sonic racing games is on here, which is kind of great. And everyone knows what Sonic is, so that's flat out fantastic. And then we have some Pac-Man love. And then one game they did actually promote for this service was one of this Frogger game, I do believe. Frogger in Toy Town. A lot of people were kind of having mixed feelings about this. At first, it looks like it was going to play with our I guess I want to say, emotions of playing Frogger for the first time. But then we've seen a baby in one of the stages, and it kind of turns some people off, and they're like, whoa, wait a second, that's not supposed to be in Frogger. And I kind of feel kind of weird, or I kind of feel iffy about Frogger being in this, or a baby being in this thing. So that was very interesting to say the least. But yeah, overall, looking at this, it looks like they're going to keep adding games to this service. This is an ongoing service from Apple. It's not just these games that are on this list. I'm going to go ahead and pop up the list right now so you can kind of get an idea of what the games are. At least look at the list and see if anything catches your eye. But from what I'm seeing, there's enough games here and enough meat on the table that $4.99 is actually worth it, in my opinion. Honestly, I know this may sound weird coming from a person like me. I'm not really a person that really likes playing mobile games all too much, but what I will say about this service, if it was on my Android device or if it was on a device that I owned, what I will say is I would actually pay for this service. I think $4.99 as well. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm pretty sure it is a family membership as well, so multiple people can play this as well, which is great. One thing I really wish Apple would have done for this service was actually go a step further. Instead of just releasing this on iOS 13 devices such as iPhones and iPads, I wish Apple would have made this, I think, on different platforms like Android, for instance. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure Apple Music is on other platforms than just Apple devices. So that would have been cool if they did that, because there probably are people willing to pay for this service. They just don't want to buy an Apple device for reasons, and I get that, and that would have been cool, but it is what it is. So I think as long as you're running iOS 13, you do get this service. And my next question is, should you actually buy this service or take out a membership for this service? If you play a lot of mobile games, then I would probably say, yeah, it's worth it, because the quality of these games are most likely going to be way better quality than a lot of the games that you get for free on like the App Store, or even the games that you pay for. Because if you're paying games anyway or getting games for free, that can cost you a lot of money. And a lot of these free games that you do take out, a lot of these do have a lot of in-game ads and in-game microtransactions, where you just pay $5 every single month, and then you get really good games, not flooded with things like microtransactions, not flooded with things like ads in it and things like that. And you never know what to expect with a lot of these games, because you guys know, when you go to things like the App Store, when you go to things like the Google Play Store, a lot of these games can be hit or miss. You never really know what you're getting. But since these are ones that probably Apple did certify and they wanted specifically on this service, the quality of these games are going to be good. Is every game going to be a flat out fantastic game where you're blown away or you're loving it that much? No, because of course not every game is going to be for every single gamer, and some games just aren't going to be as good as other games. That's to be expected. But for the most part, the quality of these games should be at least better than something like your free-to-play game or something like a paid game on the App Store or the Google Play Store. So yes, I would say definitely take out a membership. It also depends on what type of person you are. If you play games once in a blue moon, then I would say no, don't pay for this service. Yes, $5 is extremely cheap for a service like this, but you're going to be wasting your money. It's kind of like a gym membership. Why pay for a gym membership if you don't go to the gym in the first place? You're just taking out money and wasting money, essentially. And that's what this is gonna do, because this is not gonna change your game on mobile gaming if you don't like mobile gaming in the first place, or if you're a gamer but only play games like once every couple of months, like a little game on your phone, maybe like Candy Crush or something like that. This is gonna be not for you, and it's not gonna change your mind. But for people who play games frequently on their mobile devices such as an iPad or an iPhone, then I definitely think this is definitely worth your $5, and you will get your money out of this. And remember, they're always going to be adding brand new games to this service for many months to come and things like that. Now, why is Apple actually doing a service like this? Well, I know why Apple is doing a service like this, because this is just how the industry is actually moving, whether we're talking about mobile landscape or whether we're talking about gaming and things like that. The new form of payment nowadays is not just one and done. They want these reoccurring payments, and since they want these reoccurring payments, it makes sense to have something like an Apple Arcade, where a lot of people, thousands and thousands of people, are going to be paying $5 each and every month, and you'll get that reoccurring payment from a lot of people, and it will be a better business model than something like a one and done. Like if you were to buy a lot of these games outright, it's a one payment and you never have to pay for games again, and you might be satisfied with just that one game that you paid, and Apple doesn't want that. That's just the way the industry is going. That's why when you look at a company like Apple, they're starting to have all these different services like Apple TV Plus, which is their movie-based subscription service, and then they're going to have the Apple Arcade, and they have already Apple Music. You can see they have all these different services that are adding up to give them multiple sources of income, and that is a smart way to look about it. Just like the gaming industry, something like all those people who pay for something like a Xbox Live Gold or a Nintendo Switch online service, or now the new Xbox Games Pass, or now Google Stadia. They want to take all that revenue and they want to have a reoccurring revenue stream of some sort that does give them revenue, and this is the better business model than just flat out buying these games overall. But yeah, that pretty much summarizes how I feel about Apple Arcade. $5 a month, a very cheap service. You get a month to try this thing out. If you not sure if this thing's going to be for you, again, this thing is $5. You can try it right now. It is coming to iPhones and iPads that are running iOS 13. Anyway, guys, this is Wayne from My Tech News, signing out.